Hey guys, Mike here. So, boy, another super volatile day, and I mean super, super volatile. You don't think you can say that anymore, but oh my goodness, yes, it was. Big move up overnight, I'll show you. And then it just got crazy. Of course, we know what happened to Tesla and their deliveries. We'll go over that stock chart because they got hammered today. As well as I'm going to go over something very important in this video that you need to buckle up for, you need to be aware of, that it can happen. So pretty big odds that it's going to happen. And the reason why we know that is because the incoming president has pretty much told us what he's going to do. And so I need you to be aware of what's going to happen and how it affects things. Because if you work in not just for investing purposes, but if you work in certain sectors, you better have a savings account and money put back. Because if you don't, it can be a really, really rough year for you. Okay, and I'm just going to show you exactly what happened before when this took place, and then what can happen now. Okay, and so it's very important to pay attention to that. And while I'm thinking about it real quick, put any questions you have in the comments for Saturday's video. Thank you very much. Here's the spot once again. Dips down into that gap, but what happened again? Got rejected by that FOMC anchor VWAP for the fourth time, I believe it is now. But it came down, took out the low over there, as you can see, just barely. Stopped the golden pocket, still didn't go down into that gap anymore. Bounced, basically, we were up pretty decent and then ended flat for the most part, slightly red for the day. And then I think the IWM ended up flat or something, and then the very last few seconds went red. But, understand, will we get this gap fill? It keeps teasing us. We can, keep hearing about his head and shoulders and all this stuff, and will it negate it or not? The problem is any gains just cannot be held on to. If the gap's up, it immediately goes down. And I want to show you how volatile this was. This is NQ, right? So this is the futures you can see overnight. You get this big drop down, the manipulation move down overnight. Then at 7:15, we run up to 1.7% up on NQ. And that was about 7:15. And then look at these drops, man. And Tesla's numbers come out about right around, I think it was 9 o'clock when Tesla dropped their numbers or whatever. But you just see just this drop right here. Comes down 0.61. No, wait a minute. Boom. 1.4% drop in an hour. Don't worry. V-shaped recovery. End up skyrocketing up 1.3% in 30 minutes. Don't worry. We'll go ahead and drop again for you. Oh, bouncy, bounce, bounce. 1.2% drop in 55 minutes. Then we bounce back up, 0.77 in 55 minutes. And then I don't know what happened here. Let me know if you remember. I looked at the news. I didn't see any news come out. But this 1.7% drop in 40 minutes. And then finally consolidate, move up at the end of the day right there. But, I mean, it was, oof, man, was it rough. Let me know how you fared in all that one. Now, you know how I feel about this. I don't know if it's going to happen. But, again, down here, we're setting that 20 movement average, the 100 movement average, the gap, horizontal support. But there is on the VRVP, you can see that gap right there, which is bringing us down to around, I think it's like 570, 572, somewhere in there. We could fall if we don't bounce off those moving averages and that support right there if they decide to bring us down here. Right now, we're just not holding any gains at all. And the truth is, I wish I would just get it over with, to be honest with you, and do it. And that way we can see where we stand, because I think that's what a lot of people are kind of waiting to see what happens here. When you look at this, again, this 20-week, the 100, you see they kind of go hand in hand, but we've seen multiple bounces from this. Can it dip below? Absolutely can dip below. But for the most part, it's done pretty good moving up here on that moving average, and so that's why I got it in there for you. Again, we may not hold that, though. Now, when you look over here at the RSP, which is going to be key, right? You can see it's sitting here about 2.5% above its 200 moving average. It still is a mess. And so, this one decently is respected as 200 moving average. As you can see it. Look at 2023. It didn't even participate when the market moved up. It was 2024 when it participated, and the Mag 7 still did well, but it was because it had this big move because other stocks started getting rotated into, right? But you can see it's in this gap right here, so it can definitely come down to 172, 30, I believe it is. And so that'll put us right at the 200 moving average if this continues to show weakness, which seems to be the case right now. You look at with this right here is the 30-week moving average. It really, really respects 30-week moving average. It just got a bounce from there. You can see right here, bounce there. You go back in the past, multiple times where it's bounced from it or it got rejected from it. And so it definitely is another moving average that it respects and everything. So we'll see if that's what's going to be the bottom and it's going to just bounce up from there, or we're going to get a 200 moving average touch or not. But you can see, I mean, right there from 2016 to up to 2000, almost 19, it rode that 30-week all the way up. And so again, we're in a discount already. We've hit that already, but the 200 is right down below around that 0.79 area. So look at QQEW right here, because obviously technology is the big thing. This one right here actually looks like it's about to touch this 200 moving average. If it sells off tomorrow, it will actually touch that. And which also I need to correct this trend line right here. That'll be with that trend line in as well. And you can see it's got multiple bounces off that 200 as well. It does respect the 200. And so, you know, we'll see if this is going to be another one that does it or not. Again, let me correct this so you can kind of see the 200 and that trend line, which is bounced off of twice now, is sitting right there about the same area. And when we pull up the VRVP on this one, volume range, volume profile, you can see right there. See right there? 122.96. That'd be a perfect bounce spot for it. Go over to IWM, just ranging, nothing, right? Continues to just stay in this range. And this is another one though. You pull this one up, again, you can see in that area, they keep buying it up in this area right here. This is extended trading hours. Let me go to regular trading hours. You can see it a little bit better. But you go to regular trading hours and they just keep buying it up right there. It keeps bouncing. But when we pull up and go to a 4-hour chart right here, and we'll pull up, you know, the VRVP, volume range, volume profile, you can see why. I mean, it's setting up for an explosive move in either direction. It's hard. It's just hard to say which direction, because obviously your 10-year is still going strong. The other thing I'm going to talk about also affects it. But, you know, you see right there, it's at a critical area. If this breaks down, obviously you can see, boom, right? Could be a big fall. But if it breaks up because of the way it's moved, there you go. And so not going to be a lot of support or resistance in either direction. And you know, even though it already has had a pretty dang big move down right now. And of course, we got to talk about Tesla, because obviously, you know, they had a big move down today, as you can see. And again, we talked about this, right? That if it drops, if it decides to go down, it can drop fast because there really isn't any support. It's just thin up here. Thin. As you can see, we already talked about this last week before that. And so, especially this big move up it had. And so that's what you're seeing right now. Okay, it finally broke that trend line. We talked about that. And it's kind of using the Fibonacci levels like tree limbs, right? Hits the 50, it stops. Goes down the golden pocket, it stopped today right there. You know, but when you really look at this, 360.83 is going to be a real key test, which is where the 0.79 fib is, which is where real actual support, if you want to call it that, would be. That would be a heck of a retest if we get down there. It dropped this morning. People came rushing in quickly like they always do. I mean, I can see it all over Twitter now. People buying it up. So we might not get there. That's just, it wouldn't surprise us if we didn't get there at all. But if the market continues to show weakness, absolutely. And it'd be a perfect buying opportunity if you're into Tesla, whatever it is, or at least as far as confluence is concerned, yes. Because at least you get some kind of support. You get that 0.79 fib retracement, all that fun stuff. 50 moving average is always right there as well. If we see real weakness, obviously you can still continue to drop down to 340, 342, somewhere in that area as well. But, you know, just keep that in mind. But really what happened was, we'll go over the details here. You got the deliveries. The estimates were all over the place. I saw 506K, I saw 512K, but they delivered 495,000 EVs for Q4, missing it. Deliveries for 2024, 1.79 million. 1.1% lower than a year ago, so below estimates on that one. And again, when you're trading an evaluation like this and all this move up is, I told, none of it's fundamentals. So when you hit any kind of bad news, you know, the stock's going to pay the price, and that's what happened. So that's just kind of where we're at. Let me know what you think about that one. And now that leads me to the topic, and so that leads me to the topic you need to go ahead and be aware of. Again, take your politics, your red and blue stuff, and put it to the side. It has nothing to do with that. Okay, remember, history don't repeat, but it sure rhymes. And so what do we see happening right now? We see the dollar is increasing, and this is very important. Okay, very important. Pay attention to this. I'm going to get to the point. So the dollar is increasing. It's been increasing since basically the fourth quarter, which, you know, has good and bad implications, which we're going to get into. One of those negative implications is what's going on with inflation. If I pull up inflation and you pull up the dollar and lay them over each other and look at this, you can say, wow, they look pretty dang similar, right? So if the dollar is going up, inflation ain't coming down. That's just the way it's going to be. That's what you've seen right there. You can kind of see this. Inflation's going up, dollar's going up, inflation's coming down, dollar's going down, and they almost are identical at how they move. And what have you seen in Q4? Dollar's been going up. What's inflation numbers been doing? Been going up, or at least flatlined, right? They can't go down anymore, which that creates a problem, right, for the Fed, because they're cutting rates right now. And that's part of one reason you probably see the 10-year yield going, nope, we're going up. Okay. When inflation goes up, it raises prices up. Okay. And prices cannot, the rate at which prices are increasing cannot come down. That creates a problem. Now, that's one negative aspect. Going good aspect, by the way, if you're traveling overseas, you're loving life, right? Another one is if imported goods, if the dollar is increasing, imported goods coming in seem cheaper. Okay. Now, a major reason the dollar can increase is because of what President Trump has talked about he's going to do. What is he going to do? He's going to use tariffs, right, to get things he wants and start increasing, especially on China. Why is that important? Because we get a lot of stuff from China. And we've gone through this before. And in case you forgot, let me show you real quick here. In March 2018, Trump orders 25% tariffs on steel imports. And then in April 2018, China imposes tariffs on 25% on 128 U.S. products, including airplanes and soybeans. And yes, they will retaliate. April 3rd, Trump unveils plans for 25% tariffs on about 50 billion of Chinese imports. April 4th, China responds with plans to retaliate tariffs on about 50 billion of U.S. imports. And we go June, it continues. Here we go. The United States says that 25% levels on 34 billion of Chinese imports will go into effect July 6th. And again, it goes on and on and on. And this keeps going back and forth. It's called a trade war, okay? And when you look, what happened? What happened to the dollar? And when you look, what happened to the dollar? The dollar went crazy. It went from 2018, 2020 just going up, okay? What does this do? Very important to understand this. It increases the price of the goods being exported. So what other countries are buying from us is going to be more expensive, okay, because our dollar is stronger. What does that do? That leads to them either cutting back or finding different sources to get those same things, okay? So what did you see happen? This is very important. ISM manufacturing new orders, you can see right here, 2018, boom. See you later. They dropped. United States ISM Purchasing Managers Index was going up. Trade war started, boom, fell off a cliff, it seems like, right? Started going down. United States Chicago PMI, I can pull a bunch of these for you. Boom, same thing. And what do you see going on with the dollar now? It is going up in a channel. There's a trend line coming from 2,000 across, okay? And so if this thing breaks that, it can go to the top of this channel again, which put it around between 114 and 117, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, 117, 118, excuse me. And so that trend line will be 114. The next one above will be 117, 118. So, and if that happens, then that's when you can see a problem because manufacturing is already a mess, right? And so you've already seen it already bad enough. So if that happens, it puts even more pressure on that sector, which leads to layoffs. And so I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm telling you to be prepared because, I mean, you see the charts, and the charts don't lie. Things don't lie. And maybe he just uses the tariffs as a threat. Doesn't happen. All right. But so far, every tweet and interview I've seen, and during the election, I mean, what do you say? That's what he's going to do. Okay. And so if they can't work it out, and he's even talking about putting them on Europe, they don't buy more oil from us and all this stuff. So we're going to see. But I want you to be prepared and not blindsided. Okay. I come from, my wife comes from a family of farmers. Trust me, they got hit hard during that time because China can't retaliate much on us. But one thing they can definitely retaliate against is our farmers. Okay. And so I'm hoping that does not happen. Farmers do not set prices. Farmers are at the mercy of the market. Okay. That's the way it is. And so, I'm hoping that doesn't happen to anybody. I'm hoping nobody loses their job. I'm hoping we don't go to a trade war. But you need to be prepared. And as far as like affecting what's going on with the Mag 7, remember a lot of S&P, for example, like 30% of revenues come from overseas. And so with the dollar stronger, when they try to convert that back, it's going to make them like they made less during that time. If that's what's happened, if the dollar continues to rally during 2025. So be aware of that. So it could affect the earnings and stuff. And another thing I challenge you to do is go pull up 2018's chart. It is one of the most volatile years you will ever see, and also ended in a 20% crash. But look at what happened from January to like June. Super volatile as well because of that. So again, take a look at it. Let me know what you think on that right there. Now, when it comes to data tomorrow. Now, as far as data tomorrow, guess what? ISM manufacturing PMI 10 and ISM manufacturing prices are coming out. So expect another volatile day. We'll see if we get another move down or get a bounce. So anyway, please hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate all you guys who watch it and share the videos, subscribe. Thank every one of you for that. Feel free to sign up for the membership. Less than McDonald's combo. It's everything you get with it. And I will see you guys on Saturdays. I'll post your questions in there if you have any for me for a Saturday's video. Have a good one, guys.